Hey guys, Jess here from Knockout Print Shop, and today I have for you my February reflection video. So I'm going to go over my February reflection and talk about goal setting, do my mission board for March, talk about habits a little bit, and let's get into it. Okay, so I started doing our reflections last month when we released our January reflections, and I actually really like it. I made the reflection sheet, if you heard in my last video, and I was like, I don't know if I'll use this. Personally for me, but then I'm like, this is actually a pretty good tool. Yeah, use the stuff you make, Jess. So sheet starts off with memories or highlights in this first upper left section. And last month when I did it, I actually had a hard time remembering or kind of reflecting on what memories or highlights I had from the month. And it's not because my life is crappy. I just couldn't think of things that I would designate as like, highlights or memories. So what I did to help me with that, in the beginning of the month, we hadn't created a sticker that I was using for it. So what I did is I just wrote in like highlights, this week's highlights. So when I would flip back through my planner, I could kind of look. You see, I did it right here too. But when we came out with our grid sidebar, that's what I decided to use it for. So covered up that weekly focus section and just kind of like put good stuff that happened, each week or whatever. And it really was good because it was like a mini weekly reflection. It just gave me this little extra space off to the side. If something good happened that day, or I was sitting around going, oh yeah, that was good, or that was a good thing that happened, or that was a highlight, and I just jotted it down, on the side here. So you can see that's how I did it. So when I looked back through all the weeks of February, here would be my top 3 memories or highlights. I have to do with things in threes, guys. I just can't resist. It has to be in threes. So the first thing I would say memory or highlight for this month is we took the dogs to Wrightsville Beach near Wilmington, and they loved it. We had this like freak of nature week in February, beginning of the month on the 5th, where it was like 80 degrees almost. So we had to take advantage of it. One of the perks of working from home and having your own business is when it's just one of those days you want to get out, you can do that. So it was well worth the extra added work the next couple days after by taking that day off. My second thing that was really a great memory or highlight for the week was the second week of February. Matt and I went, it was the second week, to Durham to my fellow fitness professional, kettlebell coach, her studio in Durham. She's been there for, I think it was her 11-year anniversary, so we went through her little gym party, and it was just hilarious because we're like, we should have went and visited her 9 months ago. I mean, we're leaving the Raleigh-Durham area here soon to move to Nashville, and it would have been really nice to have that connection here the whole time. I should have made a better effort to go out to her studio and things like that. So note to self, make a better effort to connect with people. That's my another insight from this month. And then number 3 was my coffee date with my planner friend Corey last week. So she lives not too far from me, so this has been nice to kind of meet up in person and do that. So that was a really fun day last week when her and I met up at a coffee shop in Clayton and talked about planners, because people that get your planner obsession, it's nice to like talk to them in person. So that was super fun. Okay, so the next section is accomplishments. So this I kind of look at in a very different ways depending on kind of how the month went. So, it might be a physical or fitness thing, it might be a business thing, it might be just kind of a mental thing, it could be anything. So first one is, the first accomplishment was that we mapped out our Q2 plan somewhat and mapped out how we're going to do releases going forward. So that was a big accomplishment because releases are very stressful as far as we have a lot of little pieces to put in place to just do a release. Let me give you a little peek into what it takes to do a release. And this is like not even a full list. So Matt made me these inserts here where it's a checklist of every single task we have to do to release a batch of stickers. And you can see that list is actually starting to grow. There's a lot that goes into creating, making, printing, cutting, coming up with the ideas, inputting them into Shopify and Etsy and marketing them. So there's a lot that goes into it. And we came up with a better plan to a schedule and a plan for that and kind of things we want to do for the second quarter of the year. So that was a huge accomplishment. Now let's just hope the execution of it is equally as good of accomplishment. Number 2 would be letting go of goal shoulds. So this is going to tie in with the lesson here too as well. So if you look at my February mission board, it says launch podcast. If you look at my January mission board, it says 1 step per week for podcast. So I've been working on this kind of dream big goal, which I don't think releasing a podcast is like the most insanely epic thing ever. I mean, for some people it could be, and I get that it's a big deal, but it wasn't like it was a big, I wouldn't call dream big, but anyways, that's the mission board hexagon I put it on. But I started doing steps to achieve this goal. I was doing a different step each week in January to prep for it, from naming to researching hosting options to working on a picture for the cover art to recording practice episodes. In February, I recorded 4 more practice episodes. I had like 7 episodes recorded. And then I just started to think, like, I don't know if I want to do this. So I'd spent a little bit of time re-listening to some of my episodes. And at first I was like, okay, well, that was a good rough draft. I can just go back and re-record it, and that doesn't bother me. But then I just started to think, I don't know if this is a goal I want to attack right now. And it started to make me feel like, kind of like I was giving up or quitting. And I felt like I should do this goal. There's a couple people in my circle of support that really are encouraging me to do it. I think I have a lot of awesome things to say, which I appreciate. But I really wanted the podcast to feel like a fun thing and a hobby to me. And right now, what I've realized is I'm in a place where the commitment up to the process of podcasting to really make it something fun and worth, useful, valuable, involves committing to, probably recording and doing this at least once a week. And then obviously committing to putting it out there in a way that people are going to find it by kind of marketing it and advertising it. And I started to realize this is actually feels kind of like a job. And I don't know that I feel that inspired to do that, to have that level of commitment to this thing yet. I also started to realize I need to have a stronger why. Why am I doing it? What do I want to talk about? What's the purpose for me, the intention, all of that? I started to realize I'm not as into this as I thought I was, at least right now. And that could change. And at least I've put a lot of things in place to figure that out. So an accomplishment for me was not feeling like changing my mind meant I was quitting. And we'll talk about that here more in a second. Number 3 accomplishment for me is that Matt and I both have been working on getting up earlier, and we've improved that a little bit. It hasn't been great. That's gonna be something we work on more next month, but it's gotten better. So we've made an effort, especially the last week of the month, to really focus on getting up a little earlier, which has just made some of our days go a lot better. So those are my accomplishments. Middle section here is lessons learned. So kind of what I was saying is, number 1 here is changing a goal does not mean quitting or giving up. I'm a very kind of goal-oriented, intrinsically motivated person. And when I change my mind or some things change, at first I have a feeling that I am quitting, failing, giving up. And after talking to Matt, we both, he was helping me realize, like, you didn't quit. It's not like quitting is like when you don't even try or you just literally give up. He's like, you did try. He's like, you spent a lot of time putting in the steps in place you needed to launch the thing, and you simply decided it wasn't for you. You gave it effort and decided it wasn't for you. And he's like, and that doesn't mean that you can never do it. He's like, and now you have a better idea of what is involved. He's like, but yeah, just changing your mind and trying to figure out what you truly want doesn't mean you gave up or quit. So I think that's a really big lesson, because I think oftentimes when we change our mind on goals, we put some effort into something, we're like, oh, this is not what I wanted or what I thought it was, or I don't want to do this any longer. And as long as we're not making up excuses, we really are honest with ourselves and not going, okay, well, this is convenient now, I just decided that it's not for me. Just really feeling confident that the decision you're making is truly about that you are changing your mind, that you've shifted your priorities, that it's not a purposeful goal for you anymore. That's my 1 lesson. Number 2 is listen to your body and make adjustments. I think this is something that's definitely can be really hard for a lot of people. I'm pretty good at listening to my body. I'm very in tune with it, and I think that's from being in the fitness industry and a coach and a psychotherapist for so long. I am very in tune with my body and things like that. And in the past, even though I'd feel more tired, maybe I didn't eat enough the day before, I didn't get enough sleep, I'd still be like, I need to do what exactly my fitness plan says I should do. I need to follow my program to a T. And what I've learned as I've gotten older and wiser is that you do have to listen to your body. When you age, and I'm not like extremely old, but at almost 39, your body's not the same. You do have different aches and pains. You have different, your endurance is different. Your ability to tolerate stress is different and to your body. So what I've realized this month is it's okay to make adjustments. So when you've had a rough week or a rough day, you haven't eaten enough the day before, you haven't gotten good enough sleep, you're stressed out, that you don't want to add more stress by getting to the gym and crushing it. It's okay to get to the gym and do something, but adjusting the intensity or duration so that you aren't adding more undue stress to your body. So that's number 2. Number 3 is business related, less creating, more marketing, better time management. So like I was talking about before with releases is, sending out or launching batches of 5, 10, 20 releases is a very time intensive process. And, in the beginning of the year when we first get the colors and we're trying to bust out these 300, almost 300 plus new listings to get you guys the stickers as fast as you can so you can start using them in your planner, it's a lot of time creating so many quantity of different products. And in the beginning, we kind of have to do that because we need to get you the stuff because we don't get the colors early enough. We don't get them from Tanya. We get them when we get the planner. So we don't get them early enough to prep all this stuff far enough in advance. But after January, February rolls around and it's like we've gotten so much done. We don't need to be releasing these huge batches. We don't need to be releasing as often. We can slow down on creating so much and spend more time on marketing and working on the business. So really managing our time better as far as productivity is not only about creating, there's other parts to that. So that was the other lesson. So let's review my habit section here in the middle. My 3-month habits for February were taking my cod liver oil every day, practicing French 3 times a week, and meditating 3 times a week. I had made adjustments from January to these 2 because practicing French every day, I didn't get as great of a score. I didn't have this work to do a routine really well. And I think let's see, do we have it in here still? Oh, my GMB practice. Okay, that's right. I remember that. Okay, so what I did, cod liver oil, I did great. I was on a roll because I was going to take this off my monthly habits and move it to a daily task because I thought I had it, pretty automated, which I did. I missed it 2 days. It was both Saturdays when we went out to brunch and didn't have breakfast at home. So you can tell I've learned that my habit is really tied to the routine. So when I was out of my routine, those are the 2 days I missed it. But other than that, I did great. So I got a 93. So again, just realizing that the morning routine is essential, that the habit's tied to that. And then next step, I'm going to move that to my daily tasks. I'm going to do a separate video on habits, but basically I kind of designate 3 habits on my habit tracker and then the rest of the stuff goes to my daily task list. Number 2 for French, I did much better. I got 130, you guys. So what I did was I designated Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday to the days I was going to practice French, do it 3 days a week. I used our outline habit tracker, so I put the outlines on each of the days I was going to do it and then filled it in. I missed it 1 day, but then I actually used full hexagons and put a B on them as bonus days that I was I'm going to do it anyways. It's extra. So by doing some bonus days, I made up for it and I got a 16 out of 12 days. So that was pretty awesome. So I rocked at that 3 times a week. I think this next month in March, I'm going to add 1 more day a week and see how that goes. And then meditation, I totally sucked. I totally sucked at it. You can see I barely did it. These little dashes means I kind of try to do it on my own without my Headspace app. Clearly, this did not go well. I got a 58%. I had set it at 3 times a week, and it just, I think it's just I'm not anchoring it to a routine. I don't have a schedule. I don't feel like I really enjoy it and enjoy the process of trying to you don't really master meditation, but to integrate it into my life, but I don't think I'm super committed to it. So I think it has to do with my commitment level and the lack of schedule for it. So what I'm going to do next month, instead of forcing this to happen, is I'm going to focus on my bedtime or evening routine. And the first step I'm going to do is having a bedtime. So we'll go over that in a second. Okay, goals and projects. Next section here, completed. We hired a graphic designer for a rebrand. So we're going to put the brand for the first time through an official rebrand with a graphic designer. Well, we are very obviously skilled at creating stickers and different things like that. We are not graphic designers when it comes to branding and making cohesive brand. So I hired an awesome designer to help us rebrand. Just a little FYI, if you didn't know this, I used to own a gym called Knockout Training Club back in Chicago, and my graphic designer for that business had created this whole brand for us. And the logo you see on all of our stuff is the logo from that gym. So it was Knockout Training Club. So we named the print shop Knockout Print Shop, and we just used that logo. I love our logo for a gym, but it doesn't really say, paper company. So we're not going to change the name because that would not be a good situation for a plethora of reasons, but we are going to change the branding. So you're going to see like new logo, new color, stuff like that. That is going to be pretty exciting. So doing that, also completed planning our collections, in progress, working on a morning routine of getting up earlier. I also have another goal of learning Adobe InDesign, so that's in progress. And then next month, we'll be building a better evening routine. Again, we'll talk about that in a minute. So gratitude here at the bottom. I'm number one, grateful for sunny days that lift my mood and give me fresh air and nature. It has been crappy, gloomy weather here in Raleigh, and I know much of the country, and it's just been, I don't know about you, but the weather and sunshine definitely has an impact on my mood, and it's been pretty rough without these few sunny days we've had that it kind of goes, okay, let's get outside and get some fresh air and move. So been very happy about that. Number two, grateful for Matt's support with helping me figure out what to do about the podcast and helping me realize that I don't need to lose sleep over it and feel like a failure, and that it's just about changing your mind, moving on, and you gave it an effort and it's okay. Just kind of sometimes having somebody to say, okay, calm down, quit being so hard on yourself is nice. Number three is the opportunity to bring my parents to North Carolina for a beach family vacation. So that is something I'm very grateful for. We're doing that in April. It's going to be awesome. So the rated this month at an 8. Last month was a 9, a lot better. I was thinking about giving it a 7, and then I'm like, nah, it wasn't as bad as a month as I'm making up in my head. And then my word or theme for the month is limbo. So what I mean by that is we are moving to the Nashville, Tennessee area in May. And because of that, we almost feel like we're in this holding pattern. We're not really putting ourselves out there socially. We're kind of almost like hermits right now. We don't want to really, obviously establish ourselves here in Raleigh because we are moving. So it's kind of a really weird place. We're super excited about moving to Nashville. We love Nashville, and we already have some friends and family out there. So I feel like we're just waiting, and it just feels weird because there's things we want to do that don't make sense to do until we're moved. So everything just kind of feels weird right now, and we're in this weird limbo period. So that's why that's my word. Okay, let's see. Let's go into March mission board. So February and March, we'll kind of flip back and forth. So me time being my personal goal, which, let me see here. So my personal goals, learn French, hand lettering, and decrease screen time. If I'm going all the way back to the beginning here, haven't gotten to the hand lettering thing. I've definitely decreased my screen time unintentionally without even setting goals on paper, but goals in my mind. But learn French, we're going to up that to 4 times a week. I've been doing really great with 3 times a week, so hopefully bumping this up will be good and not too much. It seems silly sometimes that these baby steps can set you off course, but I think I'm good to add a 4th day. With home, what I have been doing the past couple months is just been all about my urban jungle plant life. I think the first month I said, keep plants alive. So home was compost and urban jungle. I'm not getting into this composting situation until we move, but I'm going to move on from that and focus on, we do a lot of fermented stuff like kombucha, water, kefir, sourdough, and we want to try, I say we because Matt's really interested in trying to brew an alcoholic water kefir, so we're going to try a new ferment this month. So it's a fun thing to do, kind of home thing. So that's that. For health, what did I even put here? Meditate and GM. So the meditation thing clearly is a work in progress. GMB is kind of doing fine, so I don't even need to focus on it that much. So we're going to focus on the evening routine. And the first step I think you need to do is get in bed by 11 p.m. every night. Because of the nature of our job and we work from home all the time and we don't really have a set schedule, it's very easy to get into this routine where you just kind of don't wake up early and you don't go to bed early, but it throws our whole circadian rhythms and mojo off. So in bed by 11 p.m. every night. I think once I mastered this, and that'll help improve the morning routine, and then I can go back to this whole meditation and adding other things to my evening routine. That's step 1. Social is another place we're feeling kind of in limbo. We don't want to reach out and create social ties really here since we're moving, but I have connected with people on Facebook that are in the strength training community in Nashville. There's a Facebook group that one of my kettlebell friends invited me to. So I think for me, just connecting with those people kind of virtually now, so I can start building relationships online so I can meet them in person. So there's that. What did I say? Social, build new friendships. Okay, so financial. increase retirement and savings. So we're in a pretty good plan for our savings and retirement, so I don't need to do too much to alter that. But I did see a really cool, what do you call it, post on Instagram from somebody I follow called a bank account pyramid, and I want to look more into that and see how what we're doing aligns with it. If you're interested in the post, let me know and I'll share it, find a way to share it somewhere. But it was really interesting and I want to just kind of look into it. As far as Dream Big, since it shifted away from the podcast, I want to focus more time on learning InDesign. I have some goals around creating more products, and I think really mastering and learning Adobe InDesign is going to be huge. So I'm going to get in, a few times a week with practicing that. And then my last one on here is I add this one called business, and I just want to continue with creating new content, putting out more videos and things like that. That's what I did last month and want to do it this month. So you can see in February, if I go back to my mission board, practice French 3 times a week, did it. Plants are still alive, except for one that I'm been in the process of killing for a while. The meditate thing, not so great. We did do a few things out of the house this month. We went to my friend's gym anniversary party. We took the dogs to the beach. So that was huge there. So this month I wanted to improve my savings plan and pay ourselves first. So we look at the end of the month. We only pay ourselves a set amount each month, no matter what the business makes. And we had been keeping that extra just sitting in our checking account, but we wanted to start putting that in our interest-bearing savings. So that definitely improved, and I can continue doing that each month without having to put it on my mission board. Launched the podcast, talked about that, shifted, content, continuing. So you can see that here. So then, without going into too much detail, because I want to dedicate a separate video to this, but really quickly, based on this and all of my reflection from February, I set my monthly goals. So goals that are outside of my daily tasks that I want to work on. So French 4 times a week, I will go in here and put down my outlines, hexes, so I can designate those days. I need to set, I know right now it was Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, so I need to figure out what the 4th day is, and then I can go in and set those. InDesign 3 times a week. I'm not going to set a schedule. We'll see how this goes. I'm not as good as integrating new habits when I don't set the schedule. But this month I'm just going to try saying 3 times a week and see how it goes. And then in bed by 11 every day. That will be a daily thing to keep track of that I really want to highlight. So that is my February reflection, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. These videos are super long because I talk through a lot of, just life stuff. So if you have any questions about any of the things I talked about, let me know. Let me know what you think about these videos. I don't know if there's a way for me to make them shorter because there is a lot of things I need to say. I'm kind of doing my reflection out loud. It'd be hard to be much more concise than I already am. Although, who knows, I guess I could work on that. So let me know, are you using the reflections? What have you learned from using them? Do you like these videos? Feel free to comment below with any of that, guys, and I will see you in the next video.